The Dane and Derek Show is an uncensored, unfiltered podcast. Content warnings can be found in the episode description. Hello and welcome to the Dane and Derek Show, a podcast where two nerdy friends keep in touch and shoot the shit. My name is Derek. I'm a writer, director, and avid tabletop RPG player, and with me as always is my good friend, Dane.
Hey, I'm Dane, writer, musician, podcaster, and lover of tabletop RPGs.
This week, we're going to be talking about some more creators that we love and that we think you should check out.
Hell
but first,
yeah.
Dane, for our little icebreaker, I have the topic of money and art. I honestly don't remember.
You sure that's not a whole 3-part episode series of ours? Not an icebreaker. You're sure about this? You sure you want me to go get started?
I think when I wrote it, I was specifically reading up on I was in a big Patreon hole, reading up about Patreon and just how people have used it, and same with Ko-fi and a bunch of other services. And so I was thinking a lot about kind of I think the line between when you think when it feels okay to ask for money, or not even ask for money, just to get paid for what you do, right? Because I feel like you and I, growing up, we very much, I think, struggled to navigate that in those early high school film days, because the idea of getting paid to make movies was obscene back then. And I think as we've gotten older, we've always both been making sure everyone's time is worthwhile, right?
Yes.
Because I think it's less probably about money and more about
time.
Yeah. When you're involving other people in art, how do you make sure that people feel valued? And it's that's a very blunt way to put it, but it's you don't want to have people over to go do something and then you spend 6 hours playing Xbox instead of doing the thing, right? Is that especially if they don't like playing time. Xbox? Yeah. It's maybe it's more respect within art is the icebreaker question. And I guess I just wanted your general thoughts.
Okay. General thoughts. Money and art are really complicated, and sometimes an antithesis, sometimes they're support each other. Rarely. I think art tends to be better when the money is a little separate. But that tends to be at the higher end, looking at top tier Hollywood, really the crazy, top tier fine art stuff. Anyways, putting that aside, everybody deserves to get the value out of their work that they feel it is worth. And that's not to say that everybody deserves to be a paid artist, if that makes sense. Nobody's is entitled to be that, right?
Right.
I think everybody is entitled to live a good, comfortable life. But that is different.
Yeah.
So my philosophy on all of this is make rent, make art, help others do the same. That's the bottom line.
That makes sense. I feel like you've said that to me before several times, over the last few years.
Yeah. Doesn't matter if you make rent by bartending or by, selling your compositions. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Make the art that is honest to you, and live as good a life as you want to live, however that means.
Yeah.
So if you do a Ko-fi, whatever.
Yeah.
Or you do a Patreon, that does not diminish your work. If that's what you need and what you feel is right, then ask for it.
Yeah.
Nobody's entitled to your work for free either. Nobody's right.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Especially in today's world. It's weird, right? Well, it's not weird. It's great. It's one of those things where I've noticed that people are more willing to pay for art. especially if it's on the internet.
I think it's growing. It's definitely growing.
It's growing. Like it's like compared to like, because I remember when we were in like high school, like we had to be super concerned about like watermarking our work and like being very careful where we put our work, because people were like ripping stuff from anyone and reposting it. Like art stealing was like huge. It still is really huge, and it still is a really big problem.
But
and
I think there's a community of people who are aware enough that they want to actively support people specifically,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And here's the other thing that goes along with that little philosophy is the third part: help others do the same, which is support artists, but only support how you can, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it's also it's super okay to release your work for free.
Yeah.
If you just want people to like it to be out there and for people to enjoy it, that's also super kick-ass.
Yeah.
Like some of the people on my list right now, that's what they do. And it's amazing work. And it's okay for it to be fulfilling in and of itself. It does not have to be the thing that feeds you. Right?
Yeah.
There's so much pressure that for your work to be legitimate, it has to be the thing that feeds you. That's my big trouble with money and art, is that money has been confused for value in art or legitimacy in art. In reality, it's not. Van Gogh made very little fucking money off of his artwork.
Right.
Literally. Like, right?
Yeah.
Like arguably the greatest, like often considered the greatest painter ever, or one of the most famous, right?
Yeah.
Barely made a cent. You know, that's not the thing. And it's endlessly frustrating to me that we think that it is, because I fight that in my own self. And I don't want to like say anybody shouldn't want to get paid and all of this stuff, but it's not the same thing as your art being valuable. Right.
Right. Yeah. Anyways. How much money you make with your art does not necessarily equate to how valuable your art is to someone.
No, it is not.
With that, these are some folks that we think you would all really enjoy and that you should go check out. And if you like their work, consider supporting them, sharing their work, and checking out what they do. Dane, would you like to go first?
Yes. Are we doing any themes? Are we starting with like musicians or like what's
no
our
themes?
No themes.
Just pick one that you feel is good, and I will pick one from my list to pair nicely with it or something.
Okay. I'm gonna start with some YouTube animators first. So I'm going to go with Shar, which is SHR, YouTube animator. Basically, she just makes like 10-second to like minute and a half long Zelda Breath of the Wild modern AU school animation videos.
Oh, cool.
Which is super specific, but they're so pretty and they're so cute and they're so sweet with such beautiful little music and like great sound design. And they just like fucking brighten my day every time I see them. Like, oh, it's like some of them are like 30 seconds long. And I'm just like, I'll just watch it. And it's like an injection of like joy and dopamine. It makes me so happy. So go check out her work. I don't know if it's actually her. Sorry. Shar. Go check out Shar. Great stuff.
Good.
Great stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. You're up.
To pair with that, I'll pitch another like animator type that y'all should check out. Their name is I think their handle is Goth Frog on YouTube.
Cool.
They made this really cool short film about like this bird and I think like a squirrel and like relearning how to fly, and it's absolutely beautiful. But I discovered their work because like for some reason I was watching a bunch of like Warriors fan animations, like from like the novel series about the fighting cats. They took like some music from like the main voice actor in like Steven Universe that he had made, and they like put it over some like animation stuff. It was like some great like AMV work, and they do some really incredible like short animations and like really incredible like storytelling and composition. Just some really, really nice videos. So yeah, go check out youtube.com/c/gothfrog. I don't know if that's actually their channel handle. Just look up Goth Frog on YouTube.
Sweet. Okay. Now, I have another animator on YouTube. Fernanda Diaz artwork. Link in the description. She does these really beautiful animations, often paired to music. And she has like some original characters that like there's enough. It's not environmental storytelling, but just like what's the word? Like the props the characters have and some of the actions they take speak to like a much bigger idea in this person's head. And I love it. And music choices are great. You should really go check that work out. And so that's Fernanda Diaz artwork on YouTube. Sweet.
I will pair it up with another animator, Louis Xong. He does a lot of musical stuff, so he'll like write music and then like will animate like little things over it. His channel's mostly music, I think, but he's done some fan animations for like various like podcasts and shows, and I think some like actual animations for some animated portions of those shows on YouTube. But like I honestly found his stuff because I was like looking up like sick guitar tutorials and like guitar music. So I was like super into like just like kind of like adding effects to guitars, even though I can't really play guitar, and that's how I found his work. I honestly go for the music a good chunk of the time. Like the animations are really cool and really cute. Oh, and he made a really great game about it's called, I think, Windsor Road. It's about like going to school on the East Coast. It's a beautiful game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff, but the music really stands out. There's a nice like kind of floaty kind of bit vibe to it that I like. Yeah. Who's next up on your list, Dane?
All right, let me see. So this is, I'm moving on to music. A singer-songwriter called Mariana Nolasco. I found her because of the last person I recommended, Fernanda Diaz artwork. They made a video, like a music, like a fan music video for one of Mariana Nolasco's songs, or not one of her songs, a different artist's song that she did a live version of with him. It's sort of convoluted, but I was like, okay, wait, I need to hear more of this music. And I dive down and I love her music. She sings in English and Portuguese. Ooh. And it is stunning. Her voice is beautiful. I love the poetry in her work. And frankly, I kind of really enjoy the fact that I get to enjoy the music. And then eventually I will go and get it and translate it, and get to enjoy the music all over again, having the full meaning of the songs she does. And she releases like, it's pretty acoustic in general, but she'll do like live sessions and videos from her home, and it's really lovely music. I can't remember the last time I fell in love with a singer-songwriter quite like this. Yeah, like I'll listen to some of her work just on repeat. It's really, really good. So can't recommend her enough. Mariana Nolasco. She's on Spotify. Some foreign artists just aren't, but she's got a big presence on Spotify. So
very nice, very nice.
You are up, my friend.
I am up, and I will recommend a band called Minority 905. They're a Canadian pop punk band. I think they're a 2-piece now, and their lead singer, he's got quite a range, and he sometimes sounds like the lead singer in Fall Out Boy. Sometimes I'm listening to their music and I'm like, when did Fall Out Boy write this song? And then I realize, it's Minority 905, and they're great. They have 2 albums out, Broken Not Beaten and Dangerous Ambitions. But they recently put out a new single called Outsider that's just a really fun kind of like adventure kind of like pop punk song. I think they just have a very nice, like that kind of nice pop punk sound, but they just, there's just something about like their music that I think it has like the nostalgia of like the like early 2010s like pop punk scene, but also like they have like a very like, you know, like 2020 kind of edge.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Who's next? Or what's next?
A composer called Reader.
Cool.
Reader is a UK-based pianist and composer who's been writing music as Reader since 2012. They write contemplative and melancholy music for piano and various ensembles, including strings and electronics. Their compositions have a strong narrative feel in spite of being largely instrumental. They have described their works as soundtracks for stories which haven't been written yet. Which is just so up my alley. Like it's a little sad. It's super beautiful. It's gorgeous and it's full of like narrative and movement and it's like inspirational. It's so cool. And also it's got like a slight sense of humor to it. Like my very favorite album of theirs is called Field Notes 2. And each song is called Field Notes, a number from 9 to 15. And it's done with like Roman numerals, like Final Fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
So they're basically playing up like a Final Fantasy thing. Like they wrote like their own Final Fantasy soundtracks for a completely different, non-existent JRPG series, more or less. And it's so cool. And I love their music so much. If I've been listening to like Mariana Nolasco on repeat, I have been like pumping this into my bloodstream. Please go listen to them. And they are so kick-ass. And I only got a recommendation for them from my friend's boyfriend like 2.5-3 weeks ago, not that long ago. And it's just like, I like literally, this is like the sort of like artist where I'm just like, where have you been all my life? Like, holy shit.
Gotcha.
One of those. Yeah. Love it. Okay. I've waxed poetic about Reader for a second here and went on a small odyssey to get that description. Your turn.
Yeah. So I got a podcast, a D&D actual play, actually.
Solid.
The podcast is called Dames and Dragons.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Do you listen as well?
I've fallen off, but I was a Patreon supporter for a long time.
Oh, yo, that's so wild. I like just started listening.
Oh, they're dope.
And like their Discord is like super cool. Like, yeah, basically Dames and Dragons is a comedy D&D 5e actual play podcast that follows like a bunch of like teen guardians as they try to protect their goddess from like monsters, traps, and like social awkwardness, bread mold, and murderous ancient deities. That's like the actual description. They're really cool. I was listening to it. Was like, I think it was like on, I forget where I found out about the show, but I started listening to it and I'm really enjoying it. I love the world building. The humor is like, it's a really funny show. There's some really great music and a really wonderful cast of players and characters. 10 out of 10 would recommend. It's there's so much content to listen through. Like there's like I think 105 episodes or something.
Yep.
And what's super cool is they do these super sick arc recaps.
Yeah, I want to get back into it, and I'm considering how. That makes sense.
Yeah, no,
like I'm torn between wanting to hear it all again and thinking like I could just do I could do the recaps of all the ones of all the arcs I've already heard and jump back in a bit closer, and I'm just not sure how to do it yet. Yeah,
it's having listened to the arc recaps, or I listened to like one of the arc recaps, and I was like, oh, this is super helpful. They kind of did a really good job of boiling down all the details I needed to know before the next part. And I was like, oh, this is really great. Like, it's a nice refresher, I feel. But they're also, the episodes are pretty short. They're like they're like about an hour, like a little less than. Like a lot of actual plays are like an hour and a half to 2. So
yeah,
it's really good. And I've had a blast listening to them, and their community on Discord is really great. Like, you don't have to be a Patreon supporter to go be a part of their Discord. You can just hang.
They're so cool. I love them so much. I actually reached out to them when I was starting my podcast, just for a little bit of advice, and they actually answered me, and it was super cool and actually good advice.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so curious what they told you, because like I'm about to launch that show. So
I can tell you off
mic.
Off
mic. I'm making lightning bolt motions. Okay. Your turn. Go listen to Dames and Dragons.
Please do. I'm moving on to some stuff that's on itch.io. And I kind of like my deal with this one was like, I'll do a couple musicians because I've really been into them. But I was like, I want to do weirder stuff, which is why I picked like Shar, who's just like, they seem to just make very random animations, right? Like very specific fan stuff, right? So my next one, Watabo, they are a generator maker. So they on itch, they have like a number of like amazing generators. So like a 1-page dungeon generator for like a D&D game, procedurally generated mansions, medieval fantasy city generator, pixel dungeon, village generator, 3D viewer for the city generator. They have some like puzzles and like all kinds of like great stuff. Like they have like a sigil generator. They have a compass rose generator. Like they have a procedurally generated train locomotives. Like it's crazy, these like things, and like there's some games that they've developed too on there. It's just really cool stuff. And
Wild.
I would say please go check them out. It's really fun stuff. It's even just fun to like just kind of like pop it open these things open every once in a while and just like generate a few things just to see what comes up.
Yeah, I feel you. Very cool. Very cool. Next person I've got is a Twitch streamer named Brox. It's B ROXH _ or maybe it's Bro X, something like that. But he's like a Mari streamer who is, I guess, like became super popular last year from like doing these like live streams of him wood carving.
Oh, cool.
Like traditional like Mari like wood carvings. But he would also like game like World of Warcraft and stuff like in between. And he like blew up. I don't really know how or why, but like last year, like my roommate and I would just put on his like wood carving streams in the background, and it's some of like the most peaceful stuff. He's just like a really wholesome guy that loves video games, loves wood carving. And like, if you just really want some like very like pleasant sort of like something to view or listen to, 10 out of 10 would recommend him.
Nice. Love it. Okay. Here's my last one for this go around. So the creator's handle is Cherry, and they only have one creation out right now, which is called Tale of Crowns. It's a choose your own adventure book on itch.io, and it's like releases a new chapter like every 2-ish months about, and it's so fun. It's like it's really good, and it's the thing I wanted to talk about the most. Like, it's well written. It's really beautiful. It's a romance. So the romances are fun because you have like 4 different romance choices. It's a very interesting fantasy world. The magic is a little like, whatever. But it's a, you know what? I'm just going to read it. I'm going to read the description. because it'll do a way better job of describing this than I will. Tale of Crowns is a high fantasy love story with Middle Eastern roots, both on PC as well as mobile. It's entirely text-based, with choices throughout to shape both your main character's personality and skills, as well as influence their relationships with the others. There are 4 love interests to choose from, both female as well as male, each with their own stories and secrets for you to uncover. The story takes place in Arsur, a fictional empire within a fantasy universe that draws inspiration from historical settings in the Middle East. Much of it is based on Kurdish culture, drawing from my own experience as a Kurdish woman. Your character is 25 years old and was born and raised in Assur, where magic is considered a skill no different from reading or writing. Gender, sexual orientation, and race have no bearing on social position or class. It is instead only based on wealth and level of education. The Arsurian Empire itself is overseen by a single ruler known as the Crown. Unlike traditional monarchies, however, the title is not inherited through blood. Whenever the crown dies, their famed golden eyes pass on to the one chosen by the spirits of this world to be the new crown. This appears to happen at random, as crowns in the past have ranged from the poorest farmer to the wealthiest noble. And here's like the coolest bit to me: the customization. At the beginning of the story, you'll have the opportunity to customize your crown's name, pronouns, sexual orientation, and their skill with magic. You can also customize many parts of your crown's appearance: hair color, texture, style, hairstyle, skin color, height, and clothing are all up to you and will be reflected in the story. Their backstory and ethnicity are the only things locked in. The crown is also locked in as a person of color, as is in line with the setting. Their specific race is up to the player to imagine. As for your crown's personality, there are 12 different character traits in total, 6 of which will be decided based on your choices in the game. This will subsequently change your crown's behavior during the romance scenes and the story. And the other cool thing is that all of the romances their genders are determined by your preferences for your crown. Like the baseline is that they're originally sort of written with 2 female and 2 male love interests, but all 4 of them could be female or all 4 of them could be male, depending on what you're interested in. The cool thing to me is it's just so much the fantasy story I would love to see. It's just like a modern fantasy story with like gender neutral characters, and everything about it is up to you. And it is so much so clearly written by someone who knows what they're talking about in terms of race and this this setting. How like in like Aladdin, like the Disney's Aladdin was so clearly written by white people, right? It's none of that. It's exactly what it's a true like Middle Eastern fantasy. Gotcha. Which is so fucking cool. But it's also like super queer friendly and like feminist and all of these things. Like I'm playing / reading it right now, and I'm allowed to play a male fantasy hero who is extremely vulnerable and gentle, which is amazing. And because I'm straight, I guess, surprise, I don't know. I that's what I picked. And so like I'm playing a male character who is like at the beginning of these stories, often the character is like they need to be helped by all the people around them, like Luke, yeah, but he's still shown shooting people very early. Right. It's much less that. And so like, because all 4 of the characters around me, all 4 love interests are the major characters, they're all like powerful kick-ass female bodyguards or mercenaries or generals or master sorceresses, and I'm just like some dude who's like, please help me, and I'm very sensitive and I'm very much and like it's so cool because I also know that the dynamic could be so different depending on people's playthroughs, and so it's super cool, especially having like literally just finished writing a novel, to not only see someone is writing the same novel like 12 different ways, all at once. Damn. It's incredible to watch. And on top of it, it's like this like triumph of like fantasy that like you and I have talked about.
Yeah.
Full of like representation and like things I've just never seen in fantasy.
Right. A non like Tolkien or Game of Thrones or European medieval fantasy.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so it's so cool, and I'd really encourage people to check it out. I will say this one caveat: if you don't like romance stories, this is not for you. Like you're gonna be like, if you are looking for like the Lord of the Rings style fantasy, this isn't it. This is not really. It is a romance first and a political fantasy story second, if that makes sense.
That is like right up your alley.
It's so fucking up my alley. Like
I think last creator you shouted out that author who writes those fantasy romance novels.
And Naomi Novik?
No, a different one.
Her work's pretty straightforward.
It was
fantasy.
like it was like the Tiger Queen.
Oh, the Tiger's Queen. Yeah, that one's even lighter on the fantasy bits, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like this game that you've described is very, very much up your alley, which I think that's the perfect note to end it on. For this week.
I went really long on that one. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're passionate about this game, and I think that everyone that is listening should go play that game. I'm gonna have to go look it up after we're done here.
Yeah. By the by, it's free.
What?
Yeah.
It's free?
Like, you can support it, but it's free.
Oh my God. Like, I'm so surprised because like normally people lead with it being free, but you led with why it's so good. And I was like, yeah, I'm down to go buy it. Like I was like already down to go buy it. And now I'm learning it's free. Like this person just put it out for free, like a pay what you want game. And it's this like my mind is blown.
Oh, no. Sorry. Let me double rephrase. It's not even a pay what you want game. Like you don't even have to do that thing on itch where you have to like say, no, I'm really just please just give me the game. I can't or don't want to pay for this. There is no button to actually pay for it. There is a button to support it.
Oh,
like you don't even like, there's no barrier to start playing. Like I'm looking at the homepage right now, and the first thing up at the top is just run game. Like that's all you have to do is you just click and you start playing.
Huh.
Yeah. There's also a really lively like online community about it. There's some like, she has like some walkthroughs, and she has like really, really gorgeous artwork of the characters, both gender presentations that they do of them. So
wild.
Yeah.
Like just so wild that there's so much care, love, and like effort put into a game, and it's free.
Right, which is like what we were talking about right at the beginning of this, which is like the value of your work is not money.
Yeah, it is not money.
It's great if you get it, and it's awesome if you support yourself that way. Like no denying that, but it's not the same thing. Because like I also want to say is like, it wouldn't surprise me if some of our listeners have heard of or even played this game, because it's like 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 not 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17. It's the 17th most top rated game on itch.io.
Wow.
Yeah.
17's my lucky number. I should go download the game right now.
Yeah, like it's right up there with like Celeste, or like A Short Hike, some like relatively famous like indie games. Yeah. So like seriously go check it out. It's I think it's like really like an excellent game that presents just such an interesting take on all of it. Like I cannot tell you how much I have wanted to interact with a fantasy story of some kind where I was playing or reading a male character that I really liked, who basically like needs to be cared for and protected by the women in his life until he can stand on his own 2 feet. And it's really cool. Also, it's flirtatious as hell and it's great. But
very fun.
Anyways, I'll stop talking about it. Let people go play. Sorry.
Yeah. We'll have a link in the description. It'll be probably the first link, and it'll be in bold font so you don't miss it.
Fuck yeah! Tale of Crowns by Cherry. Go do it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, folks, that's gonna do it for this week. You can see what movies I'm watching on Letterboxd at Benig-Aiello. And Dane, where can we find you and your work?
You can find me at danewrites.com. There's links to my Substack where you can find writing that I do, updates about once a week, as well as my podcast, music, and Twitter. So,
yeah, go play that game. Go play Tales of Crown.
A tale of crowns.
Okay,
wrong in my head.
All good. Go play A Tale of Crowns by Cherry, everybody. Have a good rest of your Wednesday.
Catch you later.